Hi everybody, Gary Heidrich here with this week's Fishing Chums Fishing Report. Boy, do we have a good show for you today. Due to the fact we're going to be kind of reminiscing a little bit about this past season, and we've got some pretty good crappie reports for you this past week. I know some guys that went crappie fishing Christmas Day and really got a good Christmas gift. Speaking of Christmas, I want to thank my buddy and my co-producer, my man behind this program, Brandon, for this wonderful Christmas presents. Gary Heidrich's Fishing Shack. I love it. Hey, let's go fishing.
Fish and Chums!
Well, thank you for being with us on Fishing Chums. God bless you, and we hope you had a great Christmas. Like I said, I know some guys that went crappie fishing over Christmas and got bit, got a good Christmas present. We'll be talking about this in a minute. But I want to take this to start off a little bit something different on today's program. I want to thank all you viewers. God bless you. You know, we had nearly 2,000 viewers on Facebook, and of course, a couple over 200 on YouTube. And we want to take this opportunity to thank you, but also, hey, subscribe. I know a lot of you people out there that are watching the show every week that haven't subscribed. Hit that subscription button. We really appreciate it. That does us a lot of good. And keep watching us on Facebook and YouTube for sure. All right, thank you. All right, let's start off out at Pomme de Terre. You know, Pomme's a good winter crappie lake, and there's been some nice crappie being caught the last few days out there. In fact, I want to show you this picture. Earl was out, I think now, on Christmas Day, and caught, he and his buddy, a couple limits of crappie. Now, the crappie at Pomme de Terre are doing a couple different things. Some people are fishing the deep water docks, picking up some fish, but also the brush piles out there. I've heard around 15, 18, 20, 22 feet of water. Minnows seems to be doing good, jigging minnows, jigs, whatever. Get out there and try Pomme de Terre the next few days. Pretty nice sized fish being caught at Pomme. And let's see, what's going on out at Truman Lake. Well, they're catching some crappie out there. We've had mixed reports. Some people are having a hard time. Other people getting right on them. And, you know, I had a report the other day that some folks that I know went out, had a hard time on the bluff, so they went in the mouth of the creek arm and got down around 22 feet of water, 24, and just kind of got in some brush and a tree and started kind of slowly moving that jig and minnow up, and they caught some nice crappie. So check this out. But there has been some nice crappie caught out on the main lake, especially the dam on the first third of the lake from the dam. They've been cruising the bluffs and really finding some nice crappie out at Truman. So some people have been using 2 poles and get their trolling motor down as low as they can get it, jig and minnow combination, and just creeping along trolling, picking up some fish. Other people have been getting right into the crappie, vertically jigging them or jigging minnows and picking up some fish out there. And I've had some pretty good reports below the dam in that Warsaw area, some crappie being caught as well. So you may want to check out crappie out at Truman. A few cats are being caught at Truman. Cut shad is the best bait. Okay. Stockton, you bet. Had some good reports the last few days over at Stockton. We're catching them in a couple different patterns. We're still getting reports of some edge of the flats in the mouth of the creeks in about 15 to 25 feet of water. Find those brush piles. But out on the main lake, try the points of the bluffs, along the bluffs. Kind of go with your electronics. Keep looking at them until you find some shad activity. You can get out there with a jig and minnow combination, and you can catch some crappie. In fact, Todd and George, look at this photo. Todd and George was out the other day, just a few days ago, and picked up this mess of crappie. God bless you. Wow, some nice fish. And just kind of use your electronics now and you can find the fish and the shad. And once you do, you can experiment on your depth and, of course, your jigs or minnows, whatever you want to fish. There have been a few walleye caught at Stockton in the last few days. Not a great numbers, but what they're doing is going off some of the flats, the deep water flats, and going on the deep side, charting, and also some of the long points and finding big balls of shad using a couple different baits. They've been using just a jig with part of a night crawler and maybe a jig and minnow. And also they've been picking up some fish on spoons out there or grubs. Might pick yourself up a walleye or two out at Stockton. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of allergies. Okay, let's go to Lake of the Ozarks. Boy, I've had some good reports of Lake of the Ozarks. Nice bass being caught out there, mainly on jerk baits right now over some of the brush piles. In fact, look at this photo. Kemp and Scott was out the other day, and they caught several bass using jerk baits. Excuse me, kids. And also some people have been using the wiggle warts and crankbaits off some of the points and deep cuts out there. You may want to try this. So Lake of the Ozarks still picking up some really nice size quality bass. By the way, they're catching some crappie at Lake of the Ozarks. You want to get out and fish the deep water docks? Flip that jig out there, count it down, count it down, count it down, kind of jig it back in, swim it back in. They're doing it this way. Some people are using a jig and minnow combination. The docks are paying off, and of course the brush piles on them out on the main lake as well. In an average depth, 15 to 20, 22 feet of water. Well, you know, we've had some reports at Table Rock, some crappie being caught up around the upper James there in the Cape Fear area. The people who know where those brush piles are picking up some nice crappie. I don't think big numbers, but they're catching some real nice fish. Excuse me, out at Table Rock, they're using some jerk bait over some of the brush piles. And, of course, on the windy points, they're still using wiggle warts and crankbaits. And out on the main cuts, going back into the creek areas, I'm telling you, this is the time of the year, because that water temperature this morning, I think it was around 48 degrees. This is a prime time to go back into the cuts, the big coves, but the main creek areas, and use your electronics. Find those big schools of shad. You may be over 60, 70, 80 feet of water, but you might find those big balls of shad around 35, 45, 50 feet of water. Use your grubs and your spoons. You could pick up some really nice bass this time of the year by using this method. Bull shoals. Crappie. Been some nice crappie being caught out there this week for the few people who's fishing for crappie around some of the docks and brush piles. I would say around anywhere from 17, 18 to 22, 25 feet of water. Jig and minnow or minnows. And the bass fishing, same thing as Table Rock. Using your jerk baits over some of the brush piles. They've been on the windy points. They've been using your crankbaits, your wiggle warts, picking up a few fish. And back in the creek areas, go back in there also. Find those big balls of shad and get down to schools of shad with, your spoons and your grubs. That could pay off for you. Okay, one other quick report here. Out at Norfolk, they're catching some crappie out on the main lake. Some nice fish, maybe not numbers, but really quality fish on the man-made brush piles. And they're still picking up a few stripers in the Twin Bridges area using umbrella rigs out there. Try this. Well, thank you for joining us in 2018. We had a great year. Boy, wasn't the fishing good this past year. And we're looking forward to you being with us right here in 2019. We have some new things, some fun things going to be happening this year. Let's just take a reflection. Let's go back here a little bit and kind of give a review of this past 2018. Okay, the first one, this is one of my favorite picks. My old buddy Catfish Rick Ellis has a great dog named Toby. He's ornery as a rattlesnake, but God, we love him. And he was out fishing with Catfish and I out on Table Rock in the Kimberlin City area this year. And boy, I hooked a bass, and Catfish got this great photo of the bass jumping. Take a look at this, and Toby not missing a beat. Boy, he was really enjoying looking at that fish. Boy, that was a great photo. I love that photo. And you know, at Table Rock this past year in both shoals, I had good crappie fishing. Here's a shot of me picking up a crappie. And we went back into the creek arms and up around the Cape Fear area, had some real good crappie fishing this spring. Boy, that reminds me of the walleye fishing that we got into this year. Catfish, Rick Ellis, Brandon and I, some of my buddies, we caught some nice walleye on Table Rock this year. Look back, here's my old buddy Catfish Rick. Boy, he's catching walleye out there right now, I bet. And you know, I was running into my old buddy Bill Dance. This is one of my favorite photos of this year. Bill Dance and I go way back. What a great guy. When we were kids, fishing the circuit and just getting into the television business, boy, we had a lot of fun. God bless you, Bill Dance. Boy, what a great photo. That was out at Table Rock this spring. And I lost my old buddy Tuffy this year. Tuffy and I fished for about 15 years all over the country and even out of the country, and he was my best fishing buddy. Here's a shot of Tuffy and I. God, I miss you, buddy. I miss you. Boy, did he love to fish. And I want to get a shot here of Brandon and I walleye fishing out at Table Rock this year. Brandon and I had a good spring and summer. And boy, looking forward to 2019, Brandon, that's for sure. And, out on the Colorado River. Love the Colorado River during the winter months. And we've caught some nice bass out here. Here's my awesome, wonderful friend Marla and I. Look at this big old bass I picked up. Wow, we had fun. One more shot. Goodbye, Tuffy. I'm going to miss you in 2019. I love you, buddy. But you've got a beautiful view of the river, and you'll be fishing with me in my heart every time we go out. Thank you for being with us here on Fishing Chums Fishing Report. And don't forget, we've got some wonderful new things going to be happening here on Fishing Chums in 2019. Be sure to like and share, and of course subscribe as we mentioned earlier. And if you have any photos or information you'd like to share with us, go to our email. Email us at fishingchums@gmail.com. Love y'all. We're going to have a great 2019 fishing season here in the Ozarks. Talk to you next week. Happy New Year.